Hello. How is everyone? I'm so glad you're here. Welcome, Detroit Jimmy. Thank you so much for the raid. I appreciate it. Not only were you my first raid, I'm pretty sure you are now my second raid. Can everyone hear me all right? I can see you, which I'm very excited about. Can you hear me? That is the question. Widowmaker, what's up? No Use for Anger, Cycloptimus Prime, E-Rock, Ellis, you guys were my super early crew. Beers, it's super good to see you. Omen was here early too. No Set Path, good to see you. Widowmaker, you're so sweet and not in a creepy way, which I really, really appreciate. Anyone that wants to be creepy, please go back and watch last week's show. Billy will tell you, Billy 916 Junglist, someone please shout him out, will tell you why not to be a creeper. But good for you, Widowmaker, for managing to do it and not be a creeper. Props. That takes skill and talent. So yeah, anyway, my name is on the other side of me because mirrors are difficult. I'm Carly. This is German Base Q&A, D&B questions and answers. What do we do here? We talk because that's what I'm super good at. Love it, hate it, I can do it a lot. And I'm really interested in people, so that's why we're here. I bring them on, I talk to them, I find out their story, and yeah, I love that. I love doing it. And some of you guys like it too, because you're here. So freaking awesome. So yeah, that's what we do. I do it every Tuesday at 7 o'clock Central Time, 1 a.m. UK time. Saturday, I also do a Who Knows What the Heck's Gonna Happen show at 7 a.m. Central Time, 1 p.m. UK. If you want to check that out, could be wild. Rude Boy Soldier, thank you for the sub. I appreciate it. Okay, I am going to do my best to catch all of them and thank everyone. I have to apologize because I do not have OBS. So the typical like alerts that you see people get about subs and follows and things like that, I don't get them. So yeah, I have to keep an eye on the chat. So yeah, let's see, who do I have to thank? No Use for Anger, E-Rock, Rude Boy Soldier, and I don't remember who else, and I'm gonna miss people. That's just what's gonna happen. But thank you so much for subscribing. My affiliate stuff got approved today. No one has to subscribe. Please don't ever feel like you have to. I love you all, and you just being here and being my friends and being cool is so much more than I could ever want or ask for. So, yeah. But please notice when you get a sub badge, which I don't know if anyone else has one, but I do. So I'm going to type in the chat real quick. The little sub badge, that's my dog, Pebbles, who is not with me anymore, but she was my quarantine buddy. She was my lockdown ride or die. And so I have memorialized her in the sub badge. And she changes the longer you sub because someone said that was a good idea. So I don't, maybe it'll change the longer I'm doing it. I don't know. Oh, Jacob Welsh, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You're the best. Thank you for the sub. Emotes are coming, by the way. I'm just waiting for them to get approved. Meta Pattern, hello. Good to see you. Okay. Let's see here. Where's my little outline? Because I'm a professional. So yeah, thanks for being here. I love you guys. You being here makes it worth people coming and talking to my dumbass about stuff. So yeah, you enable me to have the conversations that I want to have. So thanks for that. Please participate in the chat. I'm going to do everything I can to get you involved, to answer your questions, but I need you to do me a favor. And when you ask them in the chat, please tag me because that highlights and my old eyes get drawn to it so I can see it and then, we can talk about it, E-Rock and I. Um, let's see. If there's any audio or visual issues, also tag me in the chat. And we will do our best to get that sorted out. Um, let's see. And if you are not following E-Rock right now, an invitation to do that will be popping up throughout the show, but he is also on my active follow button. So please, if you are not following him, you owe it to yourself to do it. He is a tremendous host of his channel. He plays amazing music. He's a great DJ, but also he's just a super good time. His drum and bass lunch hours is like one of my favorite times of the day. Uh, it really helps recenter me, shall we say, after some of those tough mornings that we have sometimes when we work with other people. Um, oh, and so I'm doing something new. It just occurred to me today. And so I'm doing something new. And what it is going to be is announcements. Whether I do them again or not, I have no idea if I'll do them again, but today I'm going to do them. There's a couple things I want to talk about. So, okay, first of all, Meta, you're here. Big up Meta Pattern. By the way, the shout out command is bang SO. Anybody can use it. Please feel free to shout each other out. This is a community. Success for one of us is success for all of us. So, and you should all be following each other for real. So Meta Pattern did a fundraiser for 12 hours on December 12th, which was Saturday. He raised $1,143 for the ASPCA. So, as he told me, he is now broke, but there are many animals and animal welfare workers who will be super excited about that. So, props to you. That's a cause that's close to my heart. So, big up yourself. Thursday, Team Drum and Bass is going to be doing a holiday event. The kickoff is Thursday. It's going to be 4 days. Let me see if I did this correctly. No, I didn't. I did a command, but the problem with doing custom commands is that you have to remember them. So, okay, there's the invite for the Team Drum and Bass Discord. If you go there, they have all the information. Beers and Beats can also give you information about that. He helped me with that. So, also the Team D&B Discord is awesome. It's huge. If there's anything you want to know about, they can probably help you. Also, there's a ton of shit to laugh at and lots of awesome people. So, there you go. I also want to congratulate 916 Junglist Channel and Dystopia for their stateside drum and bass DJ contest that they had. They finished this weekend. They started it the weekend before. What a technical undertaking to do it. I don't know how many DJs, like total, how many sets total they had to do, but there were, E-Rock can tell us more specifically, there were like 6 or 8 finalists, just the finalists. And they had 3 or 4 nights to get there. So, yeah, amazing. Just the technicalities of doing that. So congratulations to everyone that competed. Just the fact that you competed is fucking awesome. Congrats to all of the finalists who, again, there were so many, I'm not going to name all of them, but I want to congratulate the winners. Our boy E-Rock and DJ Too Much tied for 3rd place. 2nd place went to Digit, who was last year's or the last contest winner. And 1st place went to Screw Tape. So props to all of you guys. Congratulations. Also, congratulations are in order to our boy E-Rock, who won the mosh pit. So, that's what's really important. That's what really matters here is the fact that E-Rock won that mosh pit. So don't fuck with him. And then the last announcement that I want to make, the last thing I want to do is say congratulations to Billy Lane and the 916 Junglist channel for meeting the requirements for partner and applying for that. So amazing achievement. It is not an easy thing to do. And I know that Billy has busted his ass to make that happen. He has worked really hard, but at the same time that he was growing his own channel, he's also been really giving to this community and really helping other people grow. And so, mad props to 916 Junglist. I'm so excited for you. And if Twitch does not make you partner, they're fucking idiots. And I don't care who knows it. So, anyway, since none of you guys thought to do it, I am going to shout out my boy 916 Junglist. And if you're not following him, you're a fool and you should do it. So, okay. Let's get started. Let's talk about my guests. Let's bring them in. Let's talk. So, this was a hard intro to write. So I hope you like it, djeroc. DJ djeroc is an international man of mystery, spinning drum and bass out of Dallas, Texas on Twitch under the name, surprise, DJ djeroc. He was recently, as I said, semifinalist at the Dystopia Stateside D&B battle. He tied for third place, but again, the real prize of the night went to the person that won the mosh pit. So props. He is also the first person to have a chat command inspired by and named for them in my chat. Go ahead and type !djeroc and see what that is. I don't even know if he knows. I can't remember if I told him or not. Other than that, he has shockingly little information about himself online. So just about anything he tells me is going to be news to me. And it might be news to you. So hopefully we're all going to have a great time. So let's bring him on. Wicked.
What's up?
My boy djeroc.
How are you guys?
What is up? Can
I'm doing good. How are you?
Talk. Yeah. Oh,
yes, sounds good. Everybody okay?
Yeah. How's the
okay,
sound,
awesome.
guys?
Awesome. Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, chat room looks good. I think everybody's saying good. What up, Doms? Yeah. There's too many people in there to shout out right now.
Way too many. Oh my gosh, it's Wes.
I know, right?
It's
Yes.
Wes. Eric, djeroc, do you know Wes?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Pretty
Wes is going
sure.
to be on at the end of the month.
Really?
So yeah,
Sweet.
Wes is another Dallas connection here. So yeah,
I need to look him up, make sure I know him, because now I'm wondering. It's like, is that who I think it is?
Yeah. If you need help remembering, I can probably help you, and I probably have some potentially embarrassing pictures somewhere.
You've got evidence, is what you're saying. You've got evidence.
Yeah, but see, I have to be careful because he has way more dirt on me because I've done way more embarrassing shit than he ever did. I mean, I can tell stories about hotels and parties, but yeah, like he's got. I'm definitely the one with more to lose here in this scenario.
That's
so. Anyway, thanks for being here. You are
Thanks for having me.
You are my first guest from Texas.
Yes.
Tex Flex. Okay.
Should I? Yeah, Tex Flex. Yes.
Yes.
Do you want to? Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was saying, did you want the country accent? Do you want me to do a little bit of it just so we can get the Texas thing out of the way? Do you want just like 2 seconds of it? Thank y'all for having me. I'm really appreciative of being here. Big up.
All right.
All right. That's all I got.
Be a lot cooler if you did. Yeah, I know. I was telling somebody today that it was a real shame that neither you nor I have a Texas accent. So
yeah,
that would have been really good TV.
It would have been with the nothing but twang for a whole hour, right?
Right, especially if we had, if I had like a gun mounted behind me and you were wearing a cowboy hat and we had like a boot cam that showed off our cowboy boots.
Yes.
Or like a buckle cam for your big belt buckle.
The ones you can't bend over with because it'll cut you open.
Exactly. But attracts the buckle bunnies, right? So
hey now. I don't go to those type of places, but hey now.
Hey man, I'm here for the full Texas experience. I've done it all.
That's right.
So yeah, congratulations to the entire world that watches this. Now you can see that not all Texans talk funny. And yeah, we don't all sound the same. Oh God, no use for anger. You don't know about buckle bunnies. Whew. Yeah, that's a term you've never heard. Should we spend a little time and talk about what a
Go
buckle
for it.
bunny is?
Go for it.
Okay, so rodeos are a big deal, not just in Texas, but in many Western states. Um, I'm not sure about the South, like, Louisiana East, whether rodeos are a big deal there, but they're a big deal in Texas. And one of the prizes that you win if you, stay on the bull the longest, or I don't know, fucking rope a cow the fastest, whatever all those little competitions are, one of the prizes that you win is a belt buckle. And I'm assuming that the size and grandiosity of the belt buckle is related to your placement in the contest. And so a buckle bunny is a woman that is attracted to and pursues the men that win and have those big buckles. So
Yep,
there you go.
there it is.
That's a buckle bunny. Now you know. This is
The size of small dish plates, about that big around or so. And when you wear
yes.
them, you can't bend over because if you bend
No.
over, it'll gut you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's dangerous. It's very dangerous.
No use
Um,
Spranger says he feels edumacated now.
there you go.
He can
There
now
you go.
educate. He is a certified Texan.
Well, and you missed an opportunity to educate us on some weird Florida man shit, but, E-Rock and I are running an educational program here tonight. You thought it was drum and bass Q&A. You had no idea there would be a Texas culture lesson
Yeah,
in it. Um,
I'm all for it. I'm all for it.
you know what? That's what Texans do, though. Like, that's what we do.
Mhm,
I'm not even like I'm from Southern California, but
mhm,
I've been in Texas since 1988. I consider myself a Texan because you know why? It's fucking cool. Like
mhm.
that's just how Texans are. It doesn't matter all the bullshit that's in our state. We still love it. So,
Yep,
you know.
yep.
Anyway, so let's first of all, now since we're on the Texas subject, let's just get this out of the way. Where did Tex Flex come from? I feel like I came in and that was already a thing, and I have no idea where it started.
I feel like it's between Brooklyn and I, and Brooklyn is the
Okay.
one who primarily started it, and she's up there calling
There
it
she
out
is.
right now, so props to
Me.
her. Yeah, I actually,
Yay.
I did a stream with a legend of mine, somebody I really looked up to in Dallas for many years. We used to book him in Lubbock. His name's DJ Titan, and she came
Okay. Yeah.
over and ran the chat and did some stuff over in the other side of the room with some, and it was awesome getting to meet her in person the other day. I'll give her nothing but props. And then after that,
Wicked.
I said that needed to be an emote, and everybody's like, it needs to be an emote, and we've just gone from there. So
Nice.
it needs to be a
Nice.
multicolor emote, like the jungle one that No Use for Anger, I think it is, has. But that's the next step, right?
Yeah. What nobody tells you is that harder than making affiliate is making a text emote that is legible at 28 by 28 pixels.
Yep.
That's perhaps the hardest task I have undertaken in my entire 2020, which
I've
is really
probably
saying something.
I've probably redone the big up emote on mine 3 or 4 times now. Still hate
Yeah.
it. Still hate it.
Ah,
Can't see it.
it's
You can see it on the phone just fine, but then you get it on a browser and you just like, is it big? What? There's an exclamation
well,
point.
and like even if you can read it, it's not like crisp. And like I've done all the graphics for my show, every logo, everything, and I
Mhm.
can't make a 28 by 28 emote work. But yeah, your TextFlex emote, I'm super impressed by. It looks amazing. Your big up still probably looks better than any of the stuff I did. Um,
Oh,
I I, I outsourced,
you
so
outsourced. Did Mr. Highlight up here in the chat room maybe help out?
which
No use
one?
for anger. He's saying, I know a guy.
No, because I'm an idiot and forget that No Use for Anger can do anything. And also don't think about, hey, maybe I should ask this community if anybody can do this. So yeah, No
Hey,
Use for Anger has gotten on me about that. Meta Pattern has gotten on me about that.
it's
So
I'm a big
everyone,
self learner here too. There's nothing wrong with
yeah,
that whatsoever.
yeah,
Try it, try, learn, self educate until you
mhm,
have to ask. That's kind of my
yep,
motto with those
yep,
things, right? So big up.
yep,
There's no
yep,
big deal there.
yeah. I know Professor Google just was not helpful. Um, but yeah, but I mean, normally I love Professor Google. So anyway, lesson for everyone there is not about emotes. The lesson for everyone there is that this community is wildly and widely talented. So
Agree.
if you
Very
need
much agree.
help, there are people who will help you. But also pay people for their time, please. Like if you were going to outsource it and pay somebody, pay the people that help you with that because time, we're going to talk about this some Saturday, that time is not free. Time is a big deal. If
Hmm.
someone takes the time, if someone gives you their time, they're giving you a
Yeah.
big gift. So anyway, speaking of your time, let's talk about that. So
Awesome. Okay.
okay, so where did you grow up? Let's just start with that.
Okay, so kind of an involved story. I'm born in Del Rio, Texas.
Okay.
I lived in Texas. I lived in California. I lived in Illinois. I lived in Greece. Or no, I'm sorry, not Greece, Germany. My dad went to Greece. We lived in Illinois when my dad went to Greece.
Okay.
I think that's about it. Primarily, mostly Lubbock, though.
Okay.
My dad retired at the Air Force Base in Lubbock when they closed
Okay.
down, and I
Okay.
grew up primarily there. Um,
Mhm.
was there for many, many years, and then moved to Dallas 4 years ago. So, um,
Nice. Nice.
yeah, we originally did not want to do the heat anymore, but
Yeah.
I got a good job offer over here, and it's been going well since. And I actually, aside from the July and August time frame of Texas, I pretty much
Mhm.
love the weather here.
Yeah.
I just don't like 100-degree heat, but other than that, I
No,
love it here.
it's horrible. It's
Yeah,
awful.
yeah, it really
Yeah.
is.
But, 4 months of the year is miserable, and then the other 8 months are pretty cool.
Hmm.
So, you know,
Yeah,
at least we don't live in the UK where it's, like, miserable all the time.
yeah.
We get more sun, but I don't know,
Well,
there's a lot of
y'all
pluses
do.
to the UK too.
Yeah,
You don't
yeah.
get more sun in Dallas?
In the winter, it's typically more cloudy than it is sunny here, almost all winter. As there'll be months where you don't see the sun here, believe it or not. In fact, it
Oh,
rains
wow.
more here and it's cloudy more here than it is in Seattle some years. And from an average, they say we get more rainfall in Seattle. I could believe it
Wow.
'cause it rains. And that was my big shtick about moving here was the weather. Aside from obviously the fear of tornadoes and all the other fun, but hail and tornadoes. But the rest of it, yeah, I love it here. Just good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. But, you lived in California too, so, I mean,
Yeah.
I'll take a tornado or a hurricane over an earthquake any day.
Hmm.
Even a tornado, you get a little warning to, like, get
Yeah.
in a closet or something.
Yeah, I agree.
Earthquakes are no joke,
No.
absolutely no joke.
Mm.
Um, oh, hey, 916 Junglist is
Yeah,
bigging up your shirt,
I
which is
saw that.
awesome.
Yes,
Um,
yes, repping the two-tone crew tonight, man.
yeah,
Those guys are amazing family. Done local drum and bass and supported drum and bass here for, I don't know, a decade or more probably. Billy, shouts to the partner. You got the big props call out earlier from Curly as well, man. Thanks. That's awesome.
yeah, Billy. We're really, really, really excited for you. And it sounds weird to say, but I'm proud to know you. I'm proud of you for having done having achieved such a massive thing. So couldn't happen to a better guy. Super excited
Agree.
for you.
Agree. Agree. Agree.
Um okay, so you were a military brat, it sounds like.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
That's why you moved all over the place.
Yep. Air Force.
Um Air Force.
Mhm.
Okay. So, uh, what was the role of music in your house? Like,
So my parents were huge on music. There was no filter. I was allowed to listen to whatever I wanted to listen to from the time I was born all the way up. My very first album was Guns N' Roses' "Use Your Illusion 1," and I learned many, many, many a new vocabulary from that album. It was really funny because first two CDs I ever got in my life, Guns N' Roses' "Use Your Illusion 1," and Michael Jackson, I can't remember what album it was. I think it was the Never Never Land, the double disc set, because at the time I was a Michael Jackson fan, but I really wasn't. What I was instead was a Weird Al fan, and I loved the Michael Jackson
nice.
parodies, which then turned me on to listening to more Michael Jackson.
Yes. Yes. Weird
So
Al got sales for Michael Jackson.
yeah,
That's fantastic.
yeah, and I realistically, aside from Thriller and some of the movies, had never really paid attention to him whatsoever before Weird Al. And then when Eat It came on, and I saw that video, and then what's the other Fat? with the inflatable costume and stuff. It's just after that, it was just bonkers with Weird Al. So um, big ups to Joshua Carl, by the way. If you guys don't follow him, Twitch TV Joshua Carl, he did an amazing Weird Al set the other day, like 2 hours of nothing but Weird Al. And he had Weird Al overlays, interviews. He had this whole thing. It was amazing. And he's going to do another one. So be on the lookout
Okay,
for that.
that's fantastic.
That stuff was great. It was such
You said Joshua Carl?
I'll put it up here. Yeah, let me see if I can do that.
I'm trying to, but my keyboard is
Be
not
sure
cooperating. There we go.
it's either DJ Joshua Carl. It's DJ Joshua Carl. That's what it is. I'll put it up right there in the chat.
You misled me. Okay, you did it. So cool.
That
All
should
right.
be the right one. Let's confirm. Yep, we're good. We're good.
Okay, so when was this? When did this Weird Al obsession begin
So
in your life?
that started second, third, fourth grade. After that, it was just music, 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 music. My parents had piles and piles of records. I still own all of them. Actually, my vinyl
Nice.
collection is probably 80% 60s and 70s and early 80s. And then the other 30-20% is actually electronic music. And so
Nice.
it's really an interesting collection because people come over and they're like, "You got all these records?" And I'm like, "Yeah, just go over there, pick some of those out, and see what you want to play." And they go there and they look. They're like, "Oh, I see some stuff down here now." So, but
What's your ratio? Oh, wait, no, you told me the percentages. How much vinyl do you own?
I have in storage and back here probably around 500 records ish.
All right.
And it's
Nice.
not huge, but it's a good size collection. A lot
Yeah.
is in storage, and obviously temperature controlled. But I have the highlights, the goodies I call, on a few shelves
Mhm.
back there, and then all my electronic stuff on the top shelves back there. So
Nice. Very
big ups,
nice.
big ups IKEA. These things are the most amazing shelves ever. If you don't have them, the IKEA bookshelves, you just put them
Yep.
on the side, put a couple together,
Yep.
bam,
Yep.
DJ,
Yep.
voila, you're a
Yeah,
superstar.
I have two of the 8-pocket ones.
Yes,
And
those are great. Yeah, I think
well,
that's what
and
this one,
the
2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep, that's what I have. The 8 pockets. Yeah.
yeah. Well, and IKEA's trash, right? Like, I mean, it's disposable furniture, but I will say I have moved that furniture 3 times and they have not fallen apart and I put them together. So that is saying something.
I moved
Um,
some IKEA 400 miles and then apartment and house, and it made it. It was like
yep.
questionable when you didn't have stuff on it. It would kind of,
Right.
but other than that, it worked well.
Yes, yes. As long as you know it doesn't go in the middle of the night, you're good. You're
Mhm.
good. Um,
So moving on, I guess, on the music
yeah,
story there.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. Yeah, do it.
fifth grade, sixth grade, trombone. I've classically trained in trombone for many, many years. I
Nice.
actually was in jazz. I majored in jazz and music theory for about a semester and a half before I went back to electronics because unfortunately, I really wish that I had had a better teacher. I hate to say that kind of thing, but the
Mhm.
teacher basically told me, "Hey, if you continue on this path, you're going to teach music for a school." And I
Mhm.
wanted to be a musician, and I was not
Mhm.
interested in that. And they said,
Right.
"Well, you have to do that to be a musician if you want to make a
Mhm.
living." That didn't,
Mhm.
and that kind of just off I went. But
Yeah.
I did, and that was really the last time I kind of played trombone. I still have it. I could still get it out, but obviously amateur, it takes forever. It's
Yeah.
it's muscle memory. It takes 6 to 8 months before you could play moderately again. um,
Right.
and after that, actually, I kind of wandered aimlessly, metal shows, rock for many, many years. A buddy of mine, Justin Fate, got me started in electronic music in high school, but I didn't it took a long time, especially in the Lubbock area.
Mhm.
There's no electronic music scene there. There was never
Right.
anything like that.
Right.
So when you encountered drum and bass, or you encountered house music, or you encountered just any form of electronic music, it was more like, here's this album. And you listen to the
Right.
album and it's like, oh, well, that album's great. I like Daft Punk. I like Chemical Brothers. I like, I would get like Green Lantern albums and all kinds of stuff like
Mhm.
that. And I would just be like,
Mhm.
well, the album is great. And I would listen to it as an album and nobody would really tell me those are independent tracks. And this is this genre. So eventually, moving on further to life, I started hanging out with Justin Moore, started realizing that, yeah, okay, now I see what's going on.
Mhm.
I went crazy. I went absolutely ballistic. I spent a year just getting music off the internet. Every weekend we drove to Dallas, 5 hours to Dallas, 5 hours
Mhm.
back every weekend to go
Mhm.
party. And then that kind of scaled up to, well, let's start doing events or let's try to do our own thing. So we started as VJs. So I started doing visuals for parties, and
Mhm.
we were doing like just sketchy things and sketchy places. And we actually got our first gig. And this guy calls us up and he's like, I need you guys come to Clovis, come to this address, and I need you to do the visuals for this party and we'll pay you. And we're like, a paying gig? Oh my God, we've made it. We've made it. So we load up the car. I've got one car full of all of these visual stuff. I mean, full of gear and projector screen, you name it. We loaded this guy's whole house up. We were so excited. And same thing with the car behind us with sound and the DJs, right? We roll out, we just put it on MapQuest because there was nothing else in the day. So we put it in MapQuest and we roll out
Yep.
there, not reading what that address was, show up to the Air Force Base front gate with the MPs. And we pull up to the Air Force Base front gate and they're like, oh yeah, hey, welcome. And they let us in and they had a little Jeep guy take us to where they had made a temporary military club for this party. And we threw this giant party on the Air Force Base. And that was my like very first foray into events, parties whatsoever. And it was the craziest thing. I mean, it was like a regular party, but you still had MPs on the side. So if you got really things got really out of hand, there was people with guns right there ready. That was a little different.
Yeah.
um,
Okay, so in the interest of making things clear for our
yeah,
friends across the pond, when you say party, you're talking about a rave, right?
yeah, yep,
Okay.
pretty much. Yep,
In America, raves got a really bad name
they
and a
did.
really bad connotation, not just outside of the scene, but also for those of us inside the scene. So I
Right.
know that you guys in the UK are super comfortable talking about jungle raves and rave this and rave that. So when you hear us say party,
Yeah,
that's really what we're talking about,
I am conditioned not to say the word rave, and I've been
right?
that way for many years because if we put
Right?
that on a flyer, like we would have, like that military base that was the very first time where I was told never say the R word, and they said
Hmm.
when we were out there running around, the MPs were like, we can have a party, but the second somebody says the R word, we're closing it down, and
Right.
that's just because of the some that was at the time. You remember the law and like it was like the late '90s, the early 2000s that they passed the Rave
Dance
Act,
hall.
the Dance Act or
Uh,
something like that. Yeah,
yeah, Wes, what was it, you had to have like a dance hall permit or something. Wes knows about this. Um, yeah,
exactly.
he and I will talk about that a lot.
Billy says it's like saying bong in the head shop in 1999. That is
Yes,
exactly right.
yes, yes, yes.
You're
That is
right out, man. That's
exactly
it. You
what it
can't
was.
say the B word. You're out of here.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so it was actually called the Rave Act.
Yes. Okay.
It
Cool.
was things were wild in Texas, y'all.
They
When
were.
Wes is going to be on the 29th, and if I don't care if you're from Texas or if you're from Texas and you don't know Wes, you must be here. If you know Wes, you must be here. But even if you don't know Wes and you're not from Texas, he's amazing. It's going to be a great time. Anyway,
Awesome.
back
Yeah.
to you.
And
So,
West is saying
yes,
you had to have a dance hall permit,
dance hall permit.
and it couldn't be dance music.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah,
Lord. Okay. All right. Yeah. So back on to that. After that, I did visual stuff for a while. That was just kind of fun for a little bit, and then I got into. I just kind of decided, yeah, I want to try to DJ. I really like kind of the idea. Initially, a lot of it was I just kind of like being in the know and being with the scene, right? Being with the
right,
people who
right,
are actively influencing the scene, creating the art,
right.
just putting effort and work into it. It's so
Hmm.
you meet people like that, and there's such an impactful force on your life sometimes, and you just get
Hmm.
very impressed by it, right? And that's kind of what
Hmm.
happened to me. Just very dazed by the whole thing. We would go out to Dallas and stuff, and like I said, at the time, Titan was playing. This is way back in probably I'd say early 2000s. So we were going
Yep.
2001, 2000 through 2005 ish, where we were going to Meltdown and all the Silly Lizard Lounge stuff. Um, and in Lubbock at the time, we had started doing parties in a small. It was just like this little storage shed thing, and we called it the shack, or no, I'm sorry, the shop. And at the time, the shop was just like I said, it was just it was a door in a brick building with no windows, and it was owned by my Justin's dad, and he just let us throw parties in there. We'd just push all the stuff out in the backyard behind it, and we would go at it for
Mhm.
hours. And we even like it was the craziest thing because again, like I said, if you brought electronic music into the club, you never played the club again at that time. Like if you were
Mhm.
somebody who tried to go in there and play house music or something, the customer would leave and they would get upset with you because it just wasn't. It was just it's West Texas, so very
Yeah.
honky tonk.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I would go, and we can get to that part here in a minute. But so after that, we kind of moved through into doing those parties for a little while. At the time, I was hard trance. So yeah, I played hard trance to start. That was originally what I DJ'd, and it was that lasted a whole bunch of 4 months. And I went to Dallas, and we went to it was one of the meltdowns, and I don't remember which one. It was either three, maybe four, maybe five, not sure. And I went into this back room, and it was nothing but green lasers and amazing drum and bass. And they had set it up to where you couldn't see the DJ. It was just a foggy ass room and nothing but blaringly loud drum and bass. And I knew from the second I sat in that room and I saw that, I was like, that's what I want to do. That's me. This is it. And then from there on out, I was like 100% devoted to drum and bass. And I didn't want anything else to do with any other genres. Now, honestly, I'd go see anybody. I mean, electronic music is a whole artist. I love seeing everybody and everything. But from an artist perspective, that's all I wanted to do for many years.
Right.
That had a very unfortunate side effect from a DJ perspective for me
Hmm.
because in Lubbock, you would get people that would be like, "Yeah, you play drum and bass. I want to hear it." And one tune is all it would take to scare off 50 people in that venue. I mean,
Hmm.
and it was like that all the time. So
Yeah.
what really wound up happening after that was just I found a home online and I started doing what I loved in an area that would accept me, and that's really when I started doing DMB radio and met Billy and a lot of the other people on that. Respect, I'm thinking Machete, all those people were getting online on DMB radio at the same time, and the community you see right now, what we're doing in Twitch and how that's exactly back in the day. I mean, this is verbatim IRC back in that day. This is exactly
Hmm.
how it felt. We were all just
Hmm.
one big, and everybody was in IRC. There was no social media really yet. You know, everybody had a
Hmm.
MySpace page, but that was about it. Um, and it was just an amazing thing. You know, about I don't even know. I think I have 1,200 shows on DMB radio now, or some ridiculously high number.
Wow.
I've been doing a show every single week on that station for 12 years now. So, and Renegades and everything else. And Billy knows I used to sit on there and play 2, 3, 4 times a week, much like I do with Twitch now. That's kind of the story from the drum and bass perspective. Going up further, like kind of later on in life, I started going to the Shack parties, and this is kind of where the Shack stuff comes in. They created a home for all of us when nobody else would accept the music in the town. They went out of their way to have a house music home, and they would even take the drum and bass DJ and they would let him play the house music event because they knew I had nowhere else to go, and they respected my art, you know, and I really
Yeah.
appreciated that from them. And that was literally we were renting storage sheds out on the side of an interstate and throwing
Hmm.
parties, and we would shoot lasers and lights out to the interstate so people would see it as they drive by, stop and come back and come in and party. That turned into we got a venue right next to a drive-in movie theater. So we would throw huge parties right next to the drive-in movie theater. So you'd be watching your movie, and behind the screen is all of our dumbasses in this huge field and inside and out of this house. And there's just house music and drum and bass and all kinds of music just going mad.
That's
That
awesome.
was a blast. And that's kind of how Sugar Stack started.
Hmm.
And then, like I said, moving into the Sugar Shack story, I guess, since we're
Yeah.
talking about this
Let's talk
stuff,
about that.
um, the shack itself was originally created for that purpose in Lubbock. It was a home for those of us who didn't have a home, and a home for the music for those of us, or for those who needed to hear it and wanted to hear it, right?
Hmm.
Um, Moving up into the future state and what I'm doing with the shack currently. If you don't know, it's sugarshackrecordings.com. It's a dedicated house music station, but that doesn't mean we only play house music. It's 24 hours, 7 days a week on Twitch. It's twitch.tv/ Sugar Shack Radio. Um, that project, and I'm actually taking full ownership over of it, of Sugar Shack, the company, next year, which I'm super excited about. The original owners have kind of moved on. They're not really music oriented anymore, so they've asked me to carry the torch. My whole purpose in life for that is to provide somewhere for my residents to be able to promote themselves 100% free. I provide them podcasts. I provide them all the media links they'd ever need, Mixcloud, you name it, and it's all hosted for free. You can
Nice.
become the DJ superstar you ever wanted to be, and it'll all post on the internet automatically for you. All you got to do is show up and play a show for me. And realistically, that's the whole purpose of that station. And that's what I'm trying to keep the vibe going is I want to make sure that the people that take the time to invest in the shack, my DJs and the listeners and everybody else have a very, very, very dedicated and well thought out home. And so I put a lot of hours and effort into that station, and it means like the world to me. Like I said, I know it's not a drum and bass conversation. I know it's mostly house on that side, but I love those guys so much that they got me into DJing house music. Like I was not
Mhm.
interested in it whatsoever, and I just enjoyed playing music with them so much that I actually got into DJing house music and have stuck with it ever since. As a result, really cool story, just amazing people. Tony S and Ray and memes. Like I said, some of the darkest times when I was ready to give up DJing because it just you spend 5-6 years no gigs, just doing it
Mhm.
in your bedroom, and
Mhm.
and without the video, that's kind of the reason why Twitch and my channel is what it is because I can. Um, it's so important to me that I utilize it not like 120%. And
Mhm.
like that's my goal is I don't I want it to be as entertaining to you as it is to me. I want it to be as like it's like Billy says, weatherman smooth. Everything's got to be weatherman smooth. I love that.
Yeah.
That's the way to refer to it, right?
Yeah.
And drama DMB radio was the same way. But at the same time, without video, with just being in the chat and just it kind of felt like 2/3 of what this is now, right? I've
Mhm.
got full
Mhm.
interaction now. And
Right.
things like the Sugar Shack, what we do with Sugar Shack is you can get on Twitch with Sugar Shack. We have a link. You can just hop right in the chat and it's always on. So any of the listeners can just hang out. It's overlaid right over the DJ all 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And even if there's not a DJ on, you can hop on and do that too. Same kind of principle, utilizing the platform and then making sure that it's a good home for everybody that they can enjoy, right? Good stuff.
Mhm.
So
Okay, so talk to me a little bit. I mean, you sort of mentioned it, but can you expand on sort of why this is important to you to provide? Because it sounds like what you're basically doing is saying, just show up, I'll do everything else. So can you expand a little bit more for me on like why that's important for
yeah.
you?
So when I look about this, and it's from an artist perspective, right? When
Mhm.
you as a DJ are doing your thing, and you come to me and you would say, and I either approach you or you approach me for residency on my station. In my mind, I'm taking away your need for a SoundCloud subscription. I'm taking away your need for a Mixcloud. I'm taking away all these things if you don't want to do them. Not saying,
Mhm.
and not only that, I'm automating everything from a podcast perspective for you to go promote yourself infinitely, and that
Mhm.
that that storage and that mix never disappears. It'll be there forever, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
um and that's kind of the key there is just making sure that whatever they need to promote themselves is 100% readily available, and then they've got it just kind of out there. Again, back to it's kind of the starving artist idea now right now too, and we can get into online casters because that's totally what online casters is about. But
Mhm.
it's the starving artist idea.
Mhm.
I have the infrastructure. It's up and running anyways. You don't need to pay a $40 SoundCloud subscription. I'll host 500 of your mixes and I won't bat an eye at it or ask you to pay a dime. You know what I mean? That's the
That's
kind of stuff that I get
fantastic.
at, right? And that's the
Mhm.
important things. The more home, the bigger home I can build, and the more people I can move in, the happier I am, from that perspective. Because I just see it. It's just something I'm good at. I do it for a living, and there's others out there who see it from a monetary perspective and go after people from and like
Mhm.
SoundCloud. I'm not going to hate on it too long, but when it started, it was a different thing than it is now. And when it started is more along the lines of what I think it should have been. and where they've kind of
Uh-oh.
moved monetarily has been
Oh,
really
shoot.
weird. Are we skipping?
Mhm. No, that, yeah, we sort of locked up for a second. Are we doing all right, guys?
Well, hang on a second.
Hey, Joshua Carl, we're glad you're here. We were
What's
talking
up,
about
Josh?
you.
Yeah, we were your Weird
So
Al
good to
stream.
see you. Yeah.
Cheers,
I think
man.
it was my fault. I popped something out of Stream Manager, so
No
it's probably
worries.
my fault.
We
Sorry.
need to we need to talk about
Anyway,
your machine offline future state. All right, we'll do that.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
All
Yes, we do.
right.
Okay, so the reason I popped it out is since we're at a break for technical difficulties. The reason I popped it out is because let me just tell everyone that's here, and that is subscribing. You guys are amazing, and I really appreciate you. I'm trying not to make a big deal out of it because Erock is here, and I want to talk to him and devote as much time as I can to him. Plus, like uh, subscribe if you want. If you don't want to subscribe, that's fine. I'm just glad you're here. Like, that's all that matters to me. If I have fun and Erock has fun and you have fun, I win. Like, period. That's more important to me than anything else. But because some of you have been so kind, uh, Ross, thank you so much for the cheer. You're amazing. Oh, yeah. And let me say the reason I had to pop this out of Stream Elements is because my computer will not run OBS. So I do not have the fancy little like gifts and alerts that pop up to tell me that all of that happened. So please, my apologies. Forgive me. You're all amazing. Ross, thank you for the bits, Meta Pattern for the sub, Jacob Wells, Relsh, Rude Boy Soldier, you, Erock, shouldn't have subbed on your guest gig. And No Use for
You're
Anger
welcome.
for being the first. Thank you guys all so much. You're all amazing. I love you. And so, yeah, let's get back. So I love the I mean what you're talking about doing with this online casters
Hmm.
is like it's real underground. Do you know what I mean? Like it really reminds me of sort of that underground DIY mentality, you
Hmm.
know?
Well,
I
I,
think
I
that's
may have
amazing.
confused you. So that's the Sugar Shack recordings. Online
Oh, sorry.
casters.
Okay.
You're all right. You're all right. The online casters is a branch off of that, though. Same thing. Other ideas, starving artists, stop stuff. Send me an email. I'm not going to charge you anything. I'll help you get started. I'll help you get started streaming. You want to talk about how you can get video in your race car? Hit me up. I've got hours experience on it. There's a hundred
Nice.
thousand other things. And so I started online casters with that kind of idea. I needed to have an LLC for the radio station and some other things, anyways. So I started a small business that would help starving artists get on and start streaming. And like I said, that could be everything from sharing your grandma's photos all the way up to doing green screen 1080p or 60 frames a second like I do on my stream. Anything you
Mhm.
need.
Mhm.
I've probably dabbled in just about any of it. So, and that's kind of what the whole purpose of online casters is. It's really rough at the moment. I barely had time to get the LLC off the ground. It's more of a 2021 plan and a
Mhm.
2021 initiative, but I needed the footwork this year so I could really go at it probably next year is what my hope with that is. So,
Awesome.
yeah,
Awesome. Well, the link for Sugar Shack recordings and for online casters are on a timer, but I also just put them up as well in the chat.
awesome. Thank you.
Um, yeah, yeah. No, I'm super excited for what you're doing and to see where this all goes. I love it. I love
Well,
it. Okay, so I wanted to talk about both of those things, which is amazing. Um, so you got into electronic music through like people giving you stuff to listen to.
pretty much, yep, yep. Or
And
wandering in rooms and people's places and they're playing it, right? And me going, "What is that?"
right, right. So then you were driving 10 hours round trip into Dallas every
Mhm.
weekend to go to parties. Welcome to Texas, right? Like
Yep, that's right.
it doesn't matter what city you lived in, it was driving every weekend. Um,
Mhm.
so were you like a stereotypical sort of raver when you started, or
Um,
um,
I would say, you know, I'm I don't know if stereotypical is right. I don't. at parties and stuff, I'm just a socialite. I can't sit still. I wander around. I talk to 100,000 people. I meat everybody.
Mhm.
I just be myself. Never really was the guy who, like, I wouldn't show up with specific clothes or it was more
Yeah.
important to me that I was just there. And honestly, I was gonna, like I was telling you earlier, we can get into it. I was more interested in supporting the local and hearing the locals play than I ever was a
Yeah.
headliner, and I've always
Yeah.
been that way. I'm more of a especially like the two-tone shows, everything. I'm like you
Mhm.
said earlier, if the show starts at 9, I'm the guy at 8:45 with the money in hand, and I'm not asking
Mhm.
about a list. And even if I
Right.
DJ'd, I usually wouldn't ask about a list because I know that's supporting and how important it is. Um,
Mhm.
and that's kind of always been my shtick. You can ask
Mhm.
any Corey or any of the two-tone guys; they'll be like, "Yeah, he's there at 9, but we never see him by midnight." Because usually, my old ass, I'm like, "Oh, I saw all the locals. I supported the Texas guys in Dallas and the scene here, and I'm going to
All right,
bed."
so you mentioned we could talk about it. Let's
Yeah,
talk about it. So talk to me about the local support and, what that means to you and why that's
yeah.
important to you.
So local wise, there's been both on the house side and both on the house side of I'm just been a fan. A couple like I can't even think of Josh's last name. I'm drawing blanks at the minute, but a couple of them will let me come play records at their shows. They've been awesome. But for the most part, my home has been Wits End with Two Tone, and their residency since I moved here. The second day I had my feet in Dallas and we barely had anything out of boxes, I was already at a two-tone show. And I was going every single week I could to that weekly to make sure that I was there supporting them and supporting what they do because I was still over the moon to have been able to be part of that, to have them ask me to play shows occasionally, just over the moon with that. I had a chance to kind of participate in a scene like that. I
Mhm.
know a lot of people probably have spent a long portion of their life being having something like that available,
Mhm.
and being in Lubbock and realistically getting towards the end we were getting the college dubstep and that kind of stuff, but
Mhm.
nothing like that, nothing just like a good solid resonant night where it's just crunchy drum and bass the whole night and just quality. We had some residencies in Lubbock. We convinced them to let us do breakbeat for a while. There was some things that worked out that way, but I never got drum and bass to that level. Never.
Yeah.
And even our residencies of other genres in Lubbock, they 6 months maybe.
Right.
But Two Town making I think well over 10 years if I remember correctly, and me being able to see a good chunk of that towards the end has been just this is a really magical and important thing to me. And again, like I
Yeah.
said, they just do so much work here. I can't imagine. I did small shows in Lubbock. We did Cheesemo promotions, brought a DJ here and there, did one large show. But to do that, they were doing Thursday. Two Tone was always doing the Thursday nights, and then the special guests sometimes would be the Friday or the Saturday. So they do 2 shows a week and stuff,
Mhm.
and just
Mhm.
oh, I mean, just the repetition of that over a decade is that's a lot of freaking work. So,
Yeah. Yeah. I did it for 8 months and
hmm
yeah,
I
that's a
know
lot. I
what
mean, just
exactly what you
dealing
mean.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, dealing with club owners and, are
yeah,
you bringing enough people? And some people come with really bad attitudes, but the majority of people come like you with "This is my scene, I wanna be a part of it," and,
mhm.
yeah, that's just amazing. That's, um so let me ask you, like, what has your feeling been, about Twitch and about now getting to see local DJs from everywhere?
So I'm really interested to see where this goes, and I say
Mhm.
that because a year ago, I mean, well, it was like probably last month. I was thinking about this. Is I was at a club. I had paid $55 to see Jazzy Jeff. I was at the very back of the club. I was
Wow.
miserable. I could barely hear. I mean, the audio was really washed out because the crowd was so thick. And I just couldn't see anything of what the DJ was doing. And I was there to see turntablism. And I was so depressed that I was stuck in the back of
Mhm.
that room.
Mhm.
Um, so now, fast forward a year later, and I'm watching him for free. I've got his hands 2 inches from my nose. And
Mhm.
while it's from a social perspective, I get it. There's
Mhm.
some things
Mhm.
there, and there's a lot of things going on that makes it tough. But
Right. Right.
from a music perspective and somebody who is heavily addicted to artists like that and getting to just
Mhm.
see them on the fly. Hey, I sit down on the couch from a shitty day at work and here's DJ Craze.
Right. Right. Right?
And like I watched I mean like I celebrated Craze's birthday with him the other day online. That's amazing to me. Amazing,
Yeah.
right? A year
Yeah.
ago, if you told me that was a possibility, I would have said, no way. That's impossible, right?
Yeah.
Even on Twitch or
Right.
anything, you know?
Right. Right.
That's the silver lining in my mind to all of this. Where it
Mhm.
goes, I don't know. And
Mhm.
again, just seeing you and I are more fortunate than other states, but even
Mhm.
here, a lot of our very, very well established venues have not made it. And
Right.
as a result, I just really don't understand. There's going to be some kind of crazy marketing ploy for this attention that we have now and this thing in Twitch, and that
Mhm.
there'll be a grab to try to make this happen in a public place, and
Mhm.
that right there, whoever figures that out the right way and
Right.
executes it right is how they're
Right.
going to get people back and keep them consistently right. In my
Right.
mind, the future club maybe doesn't even need a DJ there, right?
Right.
You go in and you're
Right.
in your own listening booths and you're segmented off. Or maybe, and
Mhm.
maybe it's going to get that crazy, maybe it don't, right?
Right.
Again, here neither here nor there. I think the Twitch model and you throw the silent disco idea over the top is something I could see really working well for and then having like a multi-genre bar. So you sit
Mhm.
down and it's just a Twitch bar, right? You sit down, you do whatever, and you tune into whatever feed you want. You got your headphones on, you're walking around just like a silent disco. And then you can interface with everybody and just kind of do your own thing, right? That's
W
what I always thought.
What's a silent disco?
You've never been to a silent disco? Okay, so
No.
I've
No.
DJed several of these. Billy has too. So how these work is you come in and there is no audible music playing in the event. Everybody has headphones on. Not only that, everybody has colored headphones on. So there's usually more than one DJ playing. There's probably two
Mhm.
or three. And then there's channels on the headphones and they're lighted. So you can tell every listener in the crowd what DJ they're listening to. And what's
Mhm.
really interesting about it is when you're doing it up on stage and you are killing it, you can watch a sea of color just moving over towards you and you're doing a good job. Same thing when
Right.
you start sucking. You can watch the sea of color, right? And it's like it is such a from a mix standpoint and an artist standpoint, it is such a really cool gauge, but a really, really odd thing too, because it's back to like we were discussing with the number at the number at the bottom of Twitch, right? You don't
Right.
I don't like looking at it. I don't want it there. I don't want to see it. And those
Mhm.
lights is kind of the same thing. And it's cool. And like the first couple times I did it, it was really cool. But the third or fourth time, now I'm fixated on what color light everybody has on their headphones. And I'm not like
Right.
really focused from an art perspective when I'm creating. I'm focused from a I want listeners perspective when I'm creating.
Mhm.
I don't like that.
Yeah.
It seems to wash out things when I seem to do much better when I'm not considering that, even though I understand you should always be paying attention and catering to your listeners. That's key. I get it. But at the same time, I'd rather just have kind of an, like Billy said, it's really weird. I'd just kind of rather just be blasting it in your eardrums, whether you like it or not.
Yeah. 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 Well, and it's like a weird cart before the horse thing. Like, yes, as a DJ, you should, I think, always be prepared to vibe off the crowd and go kind of where they want you to go. But at the same time, if you're a slave to that, then people are coming to see you, right?
Right.
So they want your flavor, and
Hmm.
if you're slavishly focused on, you know, who's listening and how many people are listening and all of that,
Yeah.
it not only does it sort of cheat yourself and your own artistic, sort of like integrity and goals, but also you don't perform as well. You
Right.
don't mix as well, your flow is off, the whole thing is just
It's a
not
fifty
great.
fifty deal. 50-50 deal. So
Yeah,
50% you, 50% them. If you don't
right.
have them involved, it sucks.
Yep.
If you're not involved and you're sucking, well, it sucks.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's the term the groove. That's exactly what the
Mhm.
groove is. You and the
Mhm.
listener are on a kind of on their own existence plane. The listener's not directing you, you're not directing the listener. It's just doing its thing. And that right there,
Right.
when you get to that point, that is
Yep.
why I DJ.
Yes. 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 I'm just gonna pop this up because I love that StreamYard will let me do it if I can find it. It was a recent comment, so I should be able to find it. Billy saying, "I get 3 people, but those 3 are fucking with you." And
Yep.
man, like, uh, I'm sure every DJ can talk about that, at least that one gig where the crowd was small, but they were having it,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
it's, that's the best feeling
Yeah, we
that
did a
that
we
there
did a
is.
party once like that. It was my friend Landon's house, and he had this little area in the back of his house. It was a garage type area. These guys from Austin, and I cannot remember their production company name. They showed up with an entire club's worth of lighting and lasers for like 4,000 people, and we put all that shit in a room for 50 people for my birthday, and there was more lasers in that room than there was people, and it was so insane from a laser perspective that when I put the videos up and stuff, people were like, that's not safe, you can't have lasers at that height. We are like, they were stacked from the floor to the ceiling. I don't know where else you wanted us to put them, but it was just like you're saying, a small gig. So
Yeah.
good, so good. And that party was insane, packed front to back. People still talk about it. I still remember it like it's just clear as day, every minute of it. So it's awesome.
Okay, so Wes and I both have to ask, this Landon, was his last name Roberts by any chance?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's right.
Was he a DJ, like a drum and bass DJ?
Yes, he loves Black Sun Empire. Is that him?
Holy shit.
I have to find out.
Wes, I think that's him.
Hang on a
I think
second
that's
here.
him. I'm gonna wait and hear from
From Lubbock?
Wes.
Is he from Lubbock? Is he still in Lubbock? Because I'm pretty sure Landon's still in Lubbock.
No.
So it's a different person,
Okay, well
maybe.
then maybe this is a different person. Wes and
Oh,
I, our
I'm looking.
friend our friend Landon passed away. Gosh, it's
Yes.
been a number of years now, but he was a big he was
Oh,
a big
wow.
cool guy.
Yeah.
And he did do some events.
Looking
But
up.
yeah, he was from Dallas. Okay.
Yeah,
So
he's
yeah,
got a lot
I'm
of
not
friends.
familiar.
Koteki, yeah, Pib. I see Pib. All kinds of legendary
Yeah.
Dallas DJs are on his page. Well, rest in
Yeah.
peace. That's
DJ Subtle. Yeah.
wow.
Yeah, growing old is cool except for that part, right? But,
Agree.
we're
Completely
we're
agree.
glad we're glad to know the people that we know while we know them. So,
Speaking of knowing, shouts to
yes.
Nocturtle. So Nocturtle and I grew up together. And
Yeah.
he lived on the other street from me. He and I played video games, and he came over and routinely beat mine and my brother's asses at every video game we had in the building. He's just a great person, and I'm really really happy that he's kind of come back into my life because yeah, I hadn't heard from the guy, and I don't even know how many years, but since the last time we talked, a little bit of Facebook, but that's really been it. So props to you, man. It's really good to see you again, and thanks for the congrats on my upcoming wedding. I appreciate that, man.
Yeah, yeah, you're getting married.
That's right,
That's so
March 12th.
cool.
Yep, yep,
March
super
12th?
excited. Yeah, right now it's still March 12th. Yep, we're still
Yeah.
on target there. So
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. We'll be thinking about you. I know there's a lot of prep, and it's a lot of prep when things are as crazy
they
as
are,
they are right now.
they are.
Um,
Go ahead.
okay, so just to say this, um, I really love that you talked about sort of what Twitch offers that a IRL club experience, at least to this point, has not offered.
Hmm.
Obviously, all of us would like to be able to go to clubs again. But what we have here is not bad.
I
Um,
agree.
and so first of all, I just want to say that I would really like to have a discussion about that on this show at some point, like a more in-depth discussion, maybe with multiple guests. So,
Yeah.
you obviously, I'm thinking of having that conversation with. If there's somebody else that's interested in participating in sort of like a roundtable kind of discussion about how do we take what's great from Twitch and keep it alive IRL when things change. If you're interested in that, send me a whisper, send me a message on Discord, um, and let's talk.
Yeah.
But also, so you touched on this a little bit, but I'm always curious. Do you think that what is happening now on Twitch and people experiencing it in the way that they have been. Do you think that's changed the game a little bit, in a way that is going to last? And if so, what do you think those changes might be?
First off, the sound. What I mean by that is if you listen to anybody, when Z Trip came on Billy's channel, when Little John was on with Kova the other day, and just some of those interviews from the big top cheeses, Craze echoed it too. They all say the same thing. I can do what I want here, and it's
Mhm.
widely accepted. And I can
Mhm.
show up and I can be me, and I'm doing
Mhm.
me. I'm not being booked by a promoter and expected of things or things to be done or like skits or whatever. Z Trip doesn't have to go do the same patented thing he's done every single show every time he gets on
Right.
Twitch, right? That's a good
Right.
example. Just when I think of that part of it, that is what I really like here. It's just so nice to see that everybody can express themselves here, and that is so it's more accepted than it is if you're just up here doing the club thing, right?
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
and I think as a result of that, at the very least, it's going to change people's appetites when they're out in real life in the club or wanting
Mhm.
music somewhere, right?
Mhm.
They're going to want, I'm just going to hoping they're going to want more variety. They're going to want
Yeah.
to hear drum and bass, but maybe they want now instead of just, I want to hear, just straight up crunch or
Right.
choppage for
Banger
now. It's
after
like,
banger after
right.
banger.
I'd rather show up and I'd rather have liquid and I'd rather have 10 other genres and I'd rather have all the way up through raga and everything you want ever, right? Just run through the whole gamut of it.
Mhm.
Same thing with any other genre. And I'm just kind of hopeful that's what makes it out of here. That
Mhm.
people don't feel so restricted anymore and that promoters and people who book the DJs no longer ask for that kind of canned BS behavior either, so to speak,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Um, I would love to see promoters start approaching DJs as, "Hey, I saw you at Twitch on Twitch. I love what you do. I want you to come do that exact thing." Right?
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
but again, as well as I do from a monetary perspective,
Right.
it's fast food. Somebody always said we live in a microwave society. So
Right.
if it can't be microwaved and done in 5 minutes, you're on to either the next thing or you're not interested, right? And that's my
Mhm.
concern is
Mhm.
that we come out of this and it's like, yeah, great, yeah, good, we'll do all that, and then
Yeah. If it
next thing
doesn't
you know,
immediately make money, then
right, right, or
yeah.
it's going to slowly be regurgitated to a point it is monetized, and then it's
Mhm.
not what we have now, right? And that's kind of
Mhm.
always the case. New car
Right.
smell, the new car smell is the other thing, right? Everybody gets onto something. It's that first six
Mhm.
months of getting onto something. I can't remember what that's called, but you're like this, and then you get to what you think you know, and then
Right.
you
Right.
actually start. And then right about here is where you're actually learning stuff again and actually decide whether or not you like something. So if you stick
Mhm.
with the past the new car smell and get through that slope and get back up here, well then generally you're here and you're good and you're happy, right?
Right. Right.
So
Yeah. So, okay. So again, talking about things that Twitch offers that the IRL experience does not. What do you feel like you have um, enjoyed the most, or like the biggest differences that you've seen that you've enjoyed the most being a IRL DJ versus being and let's just talk Twitch specifically because of sort of it's like one platform for chat and
mhm, mhm.
DJing.
Um, so I will say IRL, I've always been like the Ricky Bobby DJ. Like I'm always up there like I don't know what to do with my hands. And so as a result, I'm not a very I don't, and most of us are that way, especially drum and bass DJs. We're all expected to get up there and make a sad, pouty face and throw bass lines at you and punch you when you leave and say, "I'm never coming back to this place." And and so that's kind of the difference for me. Here's my personality. I'm designing. I pull in Microsoft Paint 3D all day. I video clip edit and do all kinds of weird random crap. Pull internet stuff. I just try to fit stuff in that's me and express me in my way. And I could never do that fully on a stage in real life, right?
Mhm.
Without some kind of drastically huge setup video and everything else. And even then, it's not the same experiences, because that's the difference, right? This is more like a TV show. It's more, I structure it more that way. It's a
Mhm.
show.
Right.
Whereas an event it's the event you're playing at. And that's kind of
Right.
the differentiator, I think, between them for me.
Mhm.
Between the two, I've always been online. And that's kind of why I've been putting so much influence on my artist page and Twitch and stuff, because this is really the first time that, and I love everybody in the chat room, so get ready for the mushy stuff. This is the first time in my DJ career I've had this much support. Um,
Mhm.
I've done a lot with other people. When we
Right.
did the residents in Lubbock, and whenever I got on, and that was piggybacking of other people's success a lot of times.
Mhm.
And I was fortunate that they were asking me to come with them, but I didn't know anybody there. Like everybody is
Mhm.
showing up to support. They're supporting other people that are booking me or bringing me along with them. That's
Mhm.
not the case here, and this is really
Right.
the first time that I have like fans that come see me. I've got people that come in and support nonstop, and just like the DJ battle last weekend. Like there was times where I was kept having to step away because I was about to either cry or faint, because I just couldn't deal with how much love was going on in the chat room and
Mhm.
everything else. I
Mhm.
just couldn't deal with it. Like emotionally, it was just too much. And I love that. I absolutely love that, and I'll be eternally grateful for this year, no matter what comes out of this, no matter where we go from here. And I know a lot of people have had a really shitty year, me included.
Mhm.
Nine,
Mhm.
10 hours of my day is absolute hell, but the other
Right.
time is spent on radio station, Twitch, and supporting other people. And those three
Mhm.
things are what's keeping me going the other 10 hours of the day. So thank you, all of you. Really,
Yes.
really
Yes.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
So
As Brooklyn said, you deserve all the support ever,
thank you,
and
Brooklyn.
not,
Appreciate that.
yeah, and not just you. This whole community is amazing. Speaking of that, Billy Lane, thank you for the cheer. You're amazing. Um, yeah, and like the monetary thing is like the smallest portion of the kind of support that we are all experiencing. Like
Mhm.
it's insane. It's
It's just
insane and amazing.
the community is it's beyond unbelievable. I just and I started Twitch. We moved the shack to Twitch in January,
Okay.
and not fully understanding what I mean. We discussed it, and there was some things around it, but I didn't really understand what was going to happen as a result of that. And ever since then, I'm in OBS all day, every day. You know what I mean? If I'm not that, I'm like, I'm a Microsoft Paint 3D curly roller, so I could put her on my guest cam. You name it.
Yes, I sent you idiotic picture because
Hey,
that,
it worked perfect.
that's the community we've got here.
It was so
It's
awesome.
amazing.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree.
it's
I agree.
so awesome. Okay, so you started Twitch in January then? Is that the first
I
time that
started
you were broadcasting?
I started Sugar Shack Radio's Twitch, Sugar Shack Recordings in January, and we started broadcasting the very first day of 2020. And my personal page, up until I got to thank Billy for this, because up until somewhere around April, May, or June, from an artist perspective, I was just kind of just doing DMV radio. I was just kind of doing it's the same thing I'd been doing for decades, and he really kind of pushed me, and we had a good talk, and I had a few other people kind of push me towards, hey, get out there and be yourself and do your own thing for a little while and see if you like it. And that's exactly when that started.
Yeah,
I think I want
yeah.
to say March or April is when I started doing my first streams ish, and then May and June is when it got crazy. And then next thing I know, I've got a credit card, massive credit card debt, and a green wall. So not really on the debt, but you
Yeah.
know what I'm saying.
Yes,
It's like
yes,
I'm
yes,
buying
I
stuff
do.
all the time. It feels like I got this light over here, right there, not too long ago, and that's the most amazing light
Nice.
ever. Um,
Nice.
and it's just constant additions, tweakings, changing, and being an IT guy and being an engineer, it's what I love to do. I can't
Mhm.
not do it. I've tried to just sit still and not do crap all day, and well, It doesn't work that way. My brain's not wired that way. I have to constantly be working on a project, be working on something, be doing something with myself. It feels like to the point that I get so exhausted and sick I can't move sometimes. but but yeah, that's right. Nero said it best. Engineers don't idle well. I do not idle well at all. And that's probably to detriment at points because yeah, I would love to just, I say it all the time. Oh, I'm so tired and stressed. I got to go to a beach and relax. I'd get out to that beach. I'd sit in that chair 10 minutes, 15 max. Be like, I need a drink. Let's see what's going on the internet. And then it'd
Right,
be going
right.
from there. And next thing I know, there is no relaxing. We're in a conversation. I'm in a Twitch feed. I'm doing something. Well, yes, that's relaxing, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Somebody who
yeah.
does electronic devices 24 hours a day in front of a screen 24 hours a day for everything. It's best to get away from it sometimes. I'll just put it that way. Listen to
Yeah,
E-Rock, the man who's been stuck in front of a screen for 20 years. Get away from
right. Yes.
it.
Well, and that's a real challenge about working at home too, is
It
like
is.
your screen is super close to you too. So it's like trying to pull yourself
Well,
um
what's even
away.
more mir I mean, what's even more strange is I manage a team of 9 people. I'm an IT network operations manager for a large financial industry,
Mhm.
or my large financial entity, not industry, sorry. And I work right here. So
Yeah.
my work laptop's here. So we have these huge, awesome Twitch parties, and I do crazy crap behind there and everything. And then I sit down the same chair the next morning and get on and log in. And I do all my Zoom meetings and everything in front of all this green screen. They see
Mhm.
my all the leaders, everybody sees all this, and they just kind of, what do you do with all that? And I say, I make commercials. And
Yes.
that's all they say.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
That's a lot of
Yeah.
stuff for commercials. And yeah, eventually I'll tell them I DJ. I could care less. You remember how you said you couldn't find a lot of information on me? That's deliberate. Any IT guy knows that from an internet perspective. If you have an IT career from a social footprint perspective, that's the first thing they'll go after
Mhm.
whenever you apply for a job. So that's
Mhm.
why my real name is not
Yeah.
on anything social media wise other than LinkedIn.
Yeah.
It's Eric, by the way, if you guys want to know my real name. And I can tell you how I got my DJ name here in a second too, which is really
Wicked.
silly.
I want to hear
Um,
that. I absolutely want to hear
yeah,
that.
it's a 2-second story. I went out to the mailbox one day. I pulled a credit card application out, and it said E-Rock instead of Eric, and I said, "That's it." And that was my DJ name from there on out.
That's it. Wicked. Wicked.
um,
Love it. Yeah, I'm glad my DJ name is Curly because it makes it hard to find me. There are a lot of hip hop DJs named Curly, and other sorts of things. And yeah, if you knew my DJ crew name, you could find stuff. But yeah, like my name, nope. I work in government. That is not going to happen.
yeah,
That
it's
is
very
a
important.
top secret information.
Yeah, it's always been that way. I've been on the internet since there's been an internet. We were
Mhm.
doing phone freaking, and I was doing the black boxes and stuff way back in the day. We were running copper across streets and all. Anyways, so we were doing all of the BBSs, you name it,
Mhm.
before when it was like college TT or college networks. So it was the internet used to be just colleges, and it was like
Mhm.
15, 20 of them in the entire nation, and
Mhm.
Lubbock had one of them, believe it or not.
Oh, okay.
And so
Okay.
we had
Yeah,
an
yeah.
internet hub, which is really 12 colleges connected together,
Mhm.
and they had what was called TTU net, and that was the precursor to the internet. And so we would
Mhm.
sit on TTU net all day doing what we're doing now. Guess what?
Yeah.
Playing music, fooling around, stealing music, sending music, buying music, whatever you call it, right? That's all we
Right,
did on it.
right,
And
right.
that was a whole lot of fun, and kind of moving up into this stuff. It's kind of crazy to know that it's like 20 years ago. I was, we're all probably not even able to download a song, and now here we are. Like, I can get 15,000 songs in 2 minutes.
Right. Right. It's insane. It
Yep.
yeah.
I am evil said it right. Mom, get off the phone. I'm on AOL all the time.
Or, "Why did you pick up the phone? Now I'm disconnected."
Yep.
Rude. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I,
Okay, oh, no, you go ahead. You go
oh no,
ahead.
I'd say
What was your train of thought?
Billy said TTU net at school and BBS at home, and that is 100% accurate. So
Yeah. Yeah. Real quick, let me just shout, Stitch Jones, thank you so much for the
Yes,
cheers. I really appreciate that.
good people there.
You guys are amazing. Okay, so we've talked about art. How do you feel that, um, I guess since the nature of Twitch maybe is a little different, but like online streaming uh, in general and maybe Twitch specifically, how do you feel like those things have shaped you, changed you, stretched you as an artist?
Yeah, so with being, I'm kind of a different. It's weird being the kind of the different approach, but being an online only DJ for most of my career and doing mostly internet radio shows for a very, very long time, and it with scattered small shows here and there in between. It's been critical. Without it, I doubt I would be a drum and bass DJ today. I doubt I'd be a DJ at all, to be honest, because I have spurts. I'll be honest. There'd be years without gigs, and it's been that way
Mhm,
my all 12 years I've been doing this. There'll be a
mhm,
year or two where things disappear, right? And this is my home, and
mhm,
it's my home first. DMB Radio, Sugar Shack, and then now Twitch. Right, these things are kind of what I do as a DJ. A lot of other people have a place to go back to once things open up. I really
mhm.
don't. This is me, and this is where I'll be. So you guys are seeing, you guys are kind of getting the E-Rock for here on out. And
Nice.
that's my plan going forward. I continue just providing an online home for people. I think
Mhm,
it's really important that this be just as accessible as IRL. And
mhm,
and if you want, let's just go old man E-Rock here for a second. I quite enjoy being able to hang out, party in my own chair in my own house, and be old man E-Rock and just take a break from it and go downstairs for a few minutes.
yep,
Okay. And then come back up, sit down, and we start all over again, right?
right,
There's some neat things and benefits to this situation that I never really thought I'd get a chance to have. I mean, if you tell me I'm going to watch Craze for 6 hours, I don't have to pay to drink. I bought a
right,
$40 bottle of vodka and I'm going to drink a quarter of it probably.
right,
And and I can get up, use my own restroom any second, not wait 40 minutes in line. I don't have to wait 50 minutes for the bar. I mean, I can just go
right,
on and on and on with that stuff, right? That's
right.
the kind of stuff that is always that I think, I don't know. I love about this, but overall as an artist, this has been me and it's always been me. And this is how I developed myself as a DJ is,
Mhm,
online pretty much only.
mhm,
Again, like I said, I'm not trying to put down anybody who's booked me, anybody who had me. I'm very appreciative of everything I've ever done out live and all of that stuff, but that's never been my main shtick. My main shtick has been online radio. It always has been.
mhm, mhm,
And I think that's really cool. I mean, a lot of people have been doing this for a long time, but always considered it, this is something I do alongside of. This is me DJing, and then I do these radio shows to promote that. For
mhm.
me, it's the radio shows are what promotes me. Twitch is what promotes me. That's how people find me, right? It's
Right,
different
right,
when IRL wise you have the crew and you bring them in, and that's an entirely different, awesome, super awesome thing, right?
right.
Because then they're coming in, you're getting them to experience something they may have never experienced before. I
Mhm,
like to take the people who have experienced it and take it up to another level for them and make sure
mhm,
that they have an absolutely stellar time when they're tuned into me. And that is the biggest thing to me, super important. And that's kind of what I'm always trying to search for. I'm always trying to search for the next thing, the next shtick. It's like I told Joshua Carl this, I've told Billy this, I've worn No Use for Anger. Anybody I get on their streams, I say, I am the Borg. I will absorb everything that you are putting up and I will take it back and I will use it some form or fashion in my stream. I promise you.
yes, yes, yes. Well, it's like Billy said last week that, like, things aren't a secret anymore, right? You know, technology has opened up, tutorials and, like I said, Professor Google and all of that. But he was talking about wanting to help people and say, "Here's the information." Stupid Mike.
They're all right.
Hand talker.
Mhm.
Here's the information. Now you take it and go and do even better
Right.
with it,
Right.
and
And that's
that's yeah.
100%. I love seeing it. So like when I see, Billy caught my behind the scenes cam the other day and he grabbed that and ran with it. And I thought that was freaking epic. The first time I saw it on there and he mentioned that he saw that first on my channel, I about fell over. And you know where I saw it first? I straight around and I straight up gave Joshua Carl credit for that. because he had this security cam footage during Halloween that was amazing. So you'd do the little security cam command, and it would put this little security cam behind him, and it had the little recording light, the little red recording light. But
Yeah.
poltergeists would come out of his walls and just appear on the cam. It was, oh, it was
Yes.
stellar. And after that, I was like, how are you changing scenes and doing OBS stuff via commands? And then from there, that went through the roof. So now, like, all of my mods and Sugar Shack Radio and everything, they control OBS through the chat. And so
Nice.
it's just kind of snowballed. And back to what
Mhm.
you're saying, right? One
Yeah.
person has this idea, and then all of the like 10, 15 other of us take that idea and then influence it in our own way and create something entirely different. And that is
Right.
just, and like the fact that you conceptually understand how it works and then you see it executed in a different way and knowing that you helped that kind of thing happen. Yeah, like I said,
Mhm.
Twitchception. That is so amazing to me. I love that feeling. It's so great.
Yeah, yeah. Entity was actually controlling one of the 916 Junglist streams
Yep.
recently from the
Yep.
chat. Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing to think about, like, that. Obviously, like, limited options and maybe trusted people, you could open up a whole new level of interaction for your audience, like you have with your behind the scenes cam, and allowing the audience to select, hey, I want to see the guest cam right now, or I want to see the deck cam.
Hmm.
It's really cool to do that. So one of the things I've noticed about you, and actually it was mentioned in the critique I saw of you for the finals of the DJ battle, is that you are an incredible host of your stream. Like, you are very communicative and really sort of draw people in with that uh, that just your personality and the way that you express that. Is that something that you've really done from the beginning, since you were, from like the DMB radio days, or is that something that you um, developed over time? And how did you develop it?
Okay, so when I originally started DMB Radio, and you can, everybody on here knows, you would, yeah, it's kind of like the competition last week. If you saw in the competition, there was people, he's on the mic too much. He's talking, he needs to, and I think originally when I started doing radio shows, that stifled me a little bit from being
Mhm,
being the way I am now.
mhm,
And but originally when I started wanting to do internet radio, I got on and there's this guy, a DJ named Ash Attack, and he was from London, and that's what he did. It was hype. It was jump up, and it was nothing but chat hype. I mean, and he
nice.
did he did a stellar job at it. I mean, everybody knew. And then kind of moving from there, we kind of got into DMV radio. I was like, I want to do that, but I had no idea how to do it, and I didn't
Mhm.
really have the hosting ability. And intakes calling names out here that we're about to get to intake. So you calm down up there. Anyways, so um, going from there, I started, and I still and I kept it not a lot of Mike. We would do the 30-minute roll calls. So every 30 minutes, if you don't know, when you're on iTunes, podcast wise, they have a law or a rule that says you need to vocally say and identify yourself every 30 minutes in that podcast, what you are and who you are. Now, they don't hold
Okay.
people to it, but it's in their little spiel of their little contract. So
Mhm,
that was really important. So I would at least get on, talk every 30 minutes. I'd always shout everybody out, but it wouldn't be like kind of like the conversations and just kind of the interaction we have now on my channel, right?
right, right.
Um, Doza and Pressure on DMB Radio were some of the first people that I saw host in an exceptional manner on DMB Radio and
Mhm,
grow their channel that way. People would come, again, like you're saying, for the
mhm,
interaction.
mhm, mhm,
I couldn't find a way to express myself enough from an auditory perspective without video that I ever got
mhm.
comfortable enough to be able to do that.
Right.
When Facebook Live, so DMV Radio went Facebook Live years ago. As soon as Facebook Live came online, I was making shows, and then
Mhm,
that's where this whole thing kind of started. People would come in that chat room there, and I would interact, but it still wasn't like what it is today.
mhm,
The next step onto that, like really blew it up, was watching Billy and everybody this year kind of grow into their channels and how they host, and
mhm,
then listening to just the concepts. Like when you talk to Billy, is a very, very knowledgeable person in regards to stage presence, hosting, music, just being a DJ. He has extremely like huge wealth of knowledge, and just from a
Mhm.
host perspective too. Just
Right.
so sponge, 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 and that was when I was like, okay, I'm not going to just kind of be reserved anymore, and I'm not
Mhm.
going to try to cater. Instead, what I'm going to
Right.
do is now I have my own artist page, and it's me. And this is me being me in my art, so that you come there for that. And I can't tell you how thrilled I am, kind of how it's turned out, and just me as a DJ, how I've grown. I
Mhm.
had some serious roadblocks to get through, I think, over the last few years as an artist, and
Mhm.
I couldn't figure out how to get past them. And I really feel like this last year has really torn some of those walls down and really rejuvenated me and inspired me from, just overall, right? Like the my crowning achievement right now that I still have been watching nonstop was the Sandstorm prank last weekend. That was just
Amazing.
I had that idea in the middle of learning to dance for our wedding on Saturday, and my fiance was so awesome. She let me get the phone out. She doesn't know she let me get the phone out because I did it quick, but she let me get the phone out, and I frantically text Deep. I was like, I've got to have the Terrace tune.
Yeah.
And I was trying to keep it very vague because I didn't want anybody knowing. But that's the
Right.
kind of stuff that I dreamed of doing for 12 years. Skits, random things like that. Stuff that Billy and them used to do on the 916 show in early 2000s. They
Right.
would do skits all the time, but they had a full dedicated studio. They had people with them. They could do that, right?
Right.
I generally have never really had people here with me to DJ or a crew so
Mhm.
now I don't need it. Like I have my Twitch crew, and you guys give me the ammo I need for my stream. I'll just go Photoshop you or pull you right out of something, or I'll take the whole video like I did last weekend and I'll turn that into
Yes.
something funny, right?
Yes. That was
Love that.
fantastic.
Love
Loved
that.
it. Loved
And
it.
like that's me expressing me. And
Yeah.
I feel like taking that and putting that on top of DJing and just making an entire show and just my own thing, all of that has been just that's where I wanted to be. I wanted to be here what I'm doing now 5 years ago, and I chicken shit it out. I'm telling you that right
Mhm.
now. So
Mhm.
anybody in the chat room who's not taking the jump, don't do what I did. Make
Yes.
the jump, put the effort in. It's worth it. I
Yes.
promise.
Yes. Yes. Kick fear in the dick. That is my motto for 2020. And like I almost didn't do this because I was afraid to like put myself out there. When my computer wouldn't run OBS and I saw StreamYard, it's ugly, it's not going to look the way I want it to. I'm not going to do it. Just an excuse. Just absolutely an excuse. And then
Hmm.
flippin' grinding fool pointed me to this song and it nailed me and here I am and I'm so glad I did it. I'm so glad I didn't let fear hold me back
I'm
and
very glad you're here as well. I know we had
yeah.
several conversations. It
Yeah.
just
Yeah. Yeah,
Mhm.
and you know what? StreamYard was ugly as hell before. Lucky for me, they did a lower plan that let me change some things up. But even if I was still stuck on that ugly, it let me do it.
Right,
So
right.
like and we were talking about El Hornet earlier, like
Yeah,
before
we
we
were.
started the show.
Yeah.
Um, El Hornet's stream when he started, his camera was taped to a broom. Literally, it was taped to a broom. That is not a joke. That is absolutely what he did. So, if you want to do this, don't let anything stop you. Don't do it. Every Discord that I'm involved with has a section for help. So, yeah, okay, so there's my soapbox. I'm gonna step off of it. But
You're
yeah,
all
if
good.
there's a way that you want to express yourself and you are not doing it because you're scared, quit it. Just stop.
Yeah,
Like the worst
exactly.
thing that could happen is it doesn't work. Well, guess what? It's never going to work if you don't try it.
Right.
Like it doesn't have a chance of working if you don't try it. But okay, BK asked a question and I wanted to get to that. Um so, Iraq, what was your favorite venue or
Ooh.
event to play in Dallas? And if any different, what was your all-time favorite venue or event to party at?
Okay. To party at. I'm gonna. These are tough. So to party at, there was a club in Denver. It's probably it. Hopefully, it's made it. It's not. If it's not, we'll see. But it was called the Church. And if you've never been to the church, it is a church.
Mhm.
Stained glass windows and all. They had a nitrogen. They had a nitrogen bar in the basement of this church. It's just straight up. They bought a church and turned it into a club. And I saw Fatboy Slim there, and that was one of the best parties I've ever been to. And I mean, like they had him. So where the preacher usually would sit, you've got the giant stained glass window. They had like a nice little awning out in front of the stained glass window, like 40 feet in the air. So he's towering over the whole crowd, and it was. I can't begin to describe how awesome and epic that venue was and that party was that night. That was one for
Nice.
the ages. Favorite venue to play in Dallas. It's going to be a weird one, but I would say it's probably still Wits End. It's a smaller venue. I've always enjoyed it there just because it's a little, it's a little on the grimier side. It's kind of not the most in shape venue, so to speak. But who wants to play drum and bass in a trance club? So there's that, right? These are the kind of places you usually look for when you're playing drum and bass. And not only that, the venue has always been great. I know there was some fallout with the crew and some other stuff, but they took Two Tone for 10 years over there. There
Mhm.
was several house music crews, the reggae crew, you name it, dub crew. Everybody got to go through there. They facilitated parties for everybody since I've been here, and I just think from a venue standpoint, they've always done a great job.
Mhm.
Obviously, there's larger venues I love here. They're all well, most of them haven't made it now, unfortunately.
Mhm. Mhm.
But if I had to answer, I would say that's my favorite event, my favorite venue to play. My favorite event to play is probably um, Two Tone. We used to do the vinyl night on Two Tone. That's just it was just amazing to me to kind of play records with a whole bunch of people and then kind of digest their collection. Right? It's one
Right.
thing from a digital DJ perspective. I don't know what it is about seeing the vinyl cover and having the physical media in front of you, but it spawns more discussions from the DJs when you're up there all together, kind of doing something like that. And there's just a lot more scene type conversation and just love going around when it's like a vinyl night like that because you're pulling these records and you're having glorious memories from the record you're pulling in the first place personally. So you are in a
Mhm.
stellar ecstatic mood about it, and the same thing's going on with every other person around you that's brought a crate that night too, because they all probably haven't played any of those records in a long time out in front of people either, right?
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
I think that's kind of my favorite event. And it would be any vinyl event, but the two-tone one specifically that we were doing, where we would have a vinyl. It was what was it called? I think it was Plate Wednesdays oh my gosh, I cannot. I'm butchering the name, but anyway, vinyl night, and we would do it. I think they were doing it almost for a while there, once a month, and we were starting to have. We were going to start discussing, and I was trying to talk him into have. I don't know if anybody in the chat room has ever done this. Have you ever done a crate draw? So how this works is you show up with a vinyl crate, all of your records, and you give it to them, and they put a number on your crate, and they put a number on everybody's crate. They take all those numbers, they put them in a hat, they shake the hat up, and they hand you the hat. You pull a number out, that's the crate you play. And so
Nice. Nice.
you can be a nice DJ that night, or you can be a horrible person. I have been one of those people who's gotten the happy hardcore crate, and I went
Yeah.
with it, and people gave
Mhm.
me weird looks, but I made it work.
Sandstorm, God knows what else. Um, yeah, that's amazing. I love that. That's a great answer.
Yeah.
Okay, so, did you start when you started DJing, were you on vinyl?
Yes.
Okay.
I
When
actually
did you go
I
ahead.
started in a program, like it was mix something. I don't know. Somebody gave it to me, and I was like, okay, so you line up these waveforms, and you hit play, and they do this. And this was like prehistoric DVS because there was no controller or anything. It was just
Right.
software you ran on your computer. It was like the program that Tractor is today, two iterations before what Tractor is. So
Okay.
Tractor bought the company that bought the program that I was originally using to start teaching. Let's put it that way.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Um, So I did that for like a month, and I was like, this is not what I want to do. I don't,
Yeah.
because and people would, I mean, especially back then when there was no controllers. You guys can imagine if you show up digital platform in all land
Mhm.
of vinyl, nobody was interested in you
Right.
DJing at their show. I would,
Right.
I got away with it a few times. I did. I showed up with a giant tower desktop computer, monitor, and a keyboard and a mouse. I set it down there in front
Nice.
right in front of the turntables, and everybody looked at me like I was freaking crazy, and I rocked it out. It was awesome, but again, it just didn't feel right. So I moved to
Yeah.
turntables. I actually learned on Newmark TT200s, not Techs.
Mhm.
And those were great turntables. They did the job. They were the only thing that about them, and I'll always say this about cheap turntables and a lot of things people don't realize. Cheap turntables are great for your house. There's if they're motor driven and the motor's pretty good and the pitch fader is good, great. You've got a good turntable. Don't take it to a venue. There
Yeah.
is no sound insulation, and the feedback that you are going to encounter that night and that event is going to be the most horrific thing you've ever heard in your life. And
Mhm.
that's my story for the Newmark TT product line, folks.
Mhm.
Any Newmark TT was the most god awful thing on stage. Feedback out the wazoo. We could never make one work on stage. We used to have to do all kinds of crazy stuff, like move the turntables 5 feet back from the front of the stage so they wouldn't get feedback. And don't even get me started. I could keep going.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Yeah.
but yeah, so that's that. I even
So,
lost track where we were going here with
oh,
this.
well, we were just talking about vinyl and when
Yeah.
did because I know you spin. I don't know that I've ever seen you spin just straight vinyl
hmm
on your stream. So when did you make the switch to DVS?
DVS. So I do actually spin. I've done a couple records on here and there. I think I'm going to get a little bit more into that now. One of my turntables was 38 years old. It was an MK2 with the old school clicky pitch fader, and
Yes.
it's just kind of it needs to go on the shelf from a pitch perspective. I need to take it apart and really fine tune the pitch fader, but even
Uh-huh.
then, it's a 38-year-old technology in regards to the pitch fader. So
Right.
now I revamped. I've got a DZ, and then I've got my 1200 now. So now I'm going to
Yeah.
start trying
In
to do more vinyl.
fact, I wanted to show everybody if it will come up. What is
Yes,
this crazy thing? What
yes.
is it?
Okay, so this
Does
is
it
a
have a does it not have a tone arm? Is that what
it
I'm
is not.
seeing?
It is not.
Okay.
So it's an SL DZ 1200. When they came out, it's made by Techniques. Originally, it's a CD player. So and
Okay.
on the bottom section of it, originally what they look like is they have a giant LCD screen in the center of them, right where you see the record label, right?
Mhm.
So the
Mhm.
mod, what you do is you take the whole platter and you take everything out and you rip the LED guts out, and then you just put a little spindle in the middle, put everything back on, and I run an SD card that has an hour and a half long time code on it. And so
Okay.
it's a 10-inch record player at this point, controller, DVS controller, just like the Rain. And I got it for about 300 bucks investment, right? And it's been a great
Nice.
project. Total all the way
Yes.
out the door. And I shipped a broken one from Japan. I shipped parts from UK. Just an all out fun project. And it
Nice.
is, it's taken me a little bit to get used to because
Yeah.
pitch
Yeah.
fader is but it is a great tool. I'm really excited for it so far. I've only done 3 shows with it, I think. The first
Mhm.
show was kind of a show. The second show was better. Well, today's show was pretty good, but I did have a very, very bad interruption on one of the mixes. It just kind of, and that just comes from it's muscle memory for me.
Yes. Yes.
Techniques, you're like this. On that, you're like,
Yeah, it's really
so,
sensitive, right?
yeah,
The pitch
yeah,
fader is yeah,
yeah.
that's I picked that up from your stream that was a bit of fun
The
there.
librarian turned on the ocean did. He was the one who
Okay.
said, "Hey, look at what I'm going to do." And I said, "You could do what?" And he's like, "Yeah, yeah." And I immediately found the Facebook group, contacted the guy who sold the mod, went and found a broken one in Japan. I had all the stuff shipping within 48 hours of him mentioning it on DJ's Not DJ because I was like, I want that. That's exact. I
Nice.
mean, because it's a Technics motor. It's a 10-inch Technics platter. So it is a
Mhm.
10-inch Technics record player. You can get a mod where you cut the case up and put a regular old. If you've ever seen the DJ doing the 45s, the 10-inch record players, the Technics, those were built off of DZs. So that guy revamped DZs, and that's how he got those. Everybody's like, "Oh, there's a secret Technics turntable that's a 10-inch platter." No, no, it's a DZ that Technics rebuilt with him, and then they run around. Yeah, Bismarcky, that's it. Thank you, 916. That's exactly it. That's
Awesome.
what those are. And I don't know how he got the tone arm piece, and I don't know where he got like the whole case change. I'm wondering if he got it from Techniques or what happened there. But there's other people who have done it. It just doesn't look as top notch as his did. Let's put it that way.
Okay, so, do you produce,
Yeah.
music at all?
So I have a okay. So before I get to that, all the producers in the chat room, much love, much
Yes,
respect to you.
yes.
What you do, I do not have the patience for. I would love to say I do. Um, I wrote music for 4 years. I put a lot of effort into Reason, and I was the person who refused Ableton. I refused
Mhm.
samples. I refused everything other than hardware, wiring machines, and building the sound by hand in Reason. And I did that for 4 years, and loved it. But I just I I wrote a couple tunes. I released a couple tunes on out on a label on Beatport. I got one check for $2.54 from the label. I framed
Mhm.
it and never cashed it, and I was out. That's it. I made my money. Bucket list checked. I'm done.
Yeah.
No, but realistically, it's I love DJing. I want to DJ. I want to
Mhm,
play music. I don't
mhm.
I'd love to say I have the want or the drive to write the music.
Mhm.
I want to create with the music. I want to take people's music and
Yeah,
support them and play it for others and allow them to have the experience I have when I hear it. That's the most important thing
right,
to me. And that's why I left
right.
production. Um,
Mhm.
I'm too engineer focused and too OCD and too just I could never find a happy spot with production. I would
Mhm.
spend 6 hours tweaking a snare and get nothing done, and then the next day I would
Mhm.
just be infuriated at myself and not open the program for 4 days. And
Right.
I could never really get successfully through that all the way. And then I got to a
Mhm.
point in my career where I was like, I I really just want to play music. I don't,
Right.
and I honestly, I'll be honest, straight up. I got into production because everybody told me if you want to be a successful DJ and you want
Mhm.
people to recognize you and you want to go DJ all these clubs and do all these things, you have to produce.
Yeah,
And so that's when I started. And
yeah.
my whole idea behind it was to be a better DJ. I want to write music so I could be recognized and could become a better DJ and all this stuff as a DJ. It was
Mhm.
never ever about I mean, it was artistically. I love what I wrote, and it's very personal to me, and I'm very happy with
Right,
the things I accomplished. But
right,
at the
right.
same time, it's there's just a lot around that where it's just more of I want to play other people's stuff.
Right.
I just want to be a DJ.
Yeah. Well, it's all valuable, right? I
Hmm.
mean,
Hmm.
it's I don't no one should feel like they have to do anything, you know. J- You don't have to be a DJ. You don't have to produce music. You know.
Hmm.
Hello, like I'm not doing either of those. Well, yeah, we're not going to count what I'm doing right now as
Well, I would say
production.
you're
But
producing a show. You are producing a
there you
show.
go. There you go.
It
So are
does not
you.
matter.
So are
Yeah,
you.
you have a giant list there. You're herding cats on a daily basis for guests. So I trust me, you're
I
putting a
love it.
lot of work in.
I love it. I love it. Erock, it is 8:50. We have been talking for an hour and 50 minutes, and I could go, like, forever. This
Same
is
here.
fantastic. So before we get too much further,
Mhm.
talk to the people about your stream schedule and what you've got coming up next,
Okay.
please.
So drum and bass lunch hour break occurs Monday through Friday, 11:30 a.m., 12:30 p.m. Central. It's work schedule pending. I work a regular job, and sometimes my boss decides that I can't play over lunch, so I don't make it. But for the most part,
Right.
I'm consistent somewhere around 3 to 4, and I would love to see 5 shows a week. But
Yeah.
I've been hitting 3 to 4 almost every week right now, and
Mhm.
I'm hopeful I can get that fifth one day. Uh,
Right.
and then and then just the Shack. I don't stream the Shack as a very. It's kind of a the Shack from an artist perspective. The Shack is not about me, so I don't stream
Mhm.
the Shack shows to my Twitch feed. I stream it to Sugar Shack Radio, and that only on Friday, and that's every other Friday, 8 to 10 p.m.
Mhm.
Central.
Mhm.
It's kind of community based, right? It's more growing that community, and it's important. That show to me is very important that it's a community thing. It's a Shack show. It's not an E-Rock show, right? And that's why it's not on my feed, because
Mhm.
it's not about
Mhm.
me. It's about the Sugar Shack. It's about
Right.
that family and the residents. So, and then obviously
Right.
Sundays, 10:30 a.m. to 12 p.m. Central, I do Solar Eclipse Radio, which has been ongoing for the better part of a decade on DAB Radio. Um, I was
Awesome.
doing Wednesday nights before that, but then I've moved to Sundays. I don't even know how long ago. Back to what we were discussing, right, about the time zones.
Mhm.
10:30 to
Mhm.
12:30 is a very good time in the middle of it's the middle of the Sunday for most of us.
Mhm.
West Coast is waking up, East Coast is getting lunch. In Europe, they're in the middle of the afternoon. So
Right.
everybody's just kind of in this flux state where it's kind of just a good time to grab people, right? No Use Springer
Right.
knows because he kills it every Sunday, and I rate him every Sunday.
Yeah. Yeah. He absolutely kills it. Um, okay, so I'm gonna say, everybody, if you have questions, um, type them in the chat. But I'm gonna do, for the first time, the thing that I have not done yet. So the idea for the show sort of started with my love affair with Inside the Actors Studio. Absolutely love it. James Lipton, may he rest in peace. Amazing guy. So I want to go through James Lipton's lightning round questions with you.
Okay, well,
If you're down for
hey,
that.
I'm down. We'll give this a shot. Let's do
Okay.
it.
So what is your favorite word?
Big up.
Big up.
Two
All right.
words.
Well, I'll give
It
you that. It's
counts.
two words. It's a phrase.
Respect.
It's a phrase.
Let's do respect. It's between the
Okay.
two. We'll call respect. Let's do
Okay.
that.
Respect. What is your least favorite word?
Oh, that's tough. I can't really think of one at the minute. There's quite a few that don't need to be said out loud. Um, I can't think of one. Let's move on. Let's move on to the next
Okay,
question.
let's move on. All right. So what turns you on creatively, spiritually, or emotionally?
Oh, what? So I don't have a good answer for that. It's just what I hear or see that gives me goosebumps.
All
And
right.
And that's really just a feeling, right? If it's
Yep.
done
Yep.
well and it's executed right, whether that be a performance, music, video, TV, whatever, you kind of just get that feeling, hey, that's for me, and I love that.
Right.
And there's no
Right.
that feeling, that moment right there. That's what I'm kind of describing, right? So,
Yes. Yes. Okay. What turns you off?
oh, what turns me off? Honky
Mhm.
donk trucks. I really, really do not like lifted pickups driving around rolling coal everywhere. That really, really, I'm sorry if you've got them. I'm just sorry if you're an owner of one, but they drive me absolutely insane. And they only seem to be getting bigger and bigger.
The nuts on the hitch really get me.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially when
Okay.
they're the
So,
size of the truck.
right. Right.
Mhm.
Okay. What's your favorite curse word?
Fuck shit.
Nice. Nice. Uh, what sound or noise do you love? Like,
Sound or
other
noise
than
I
drum
love.
and bass. Like, yeah.
The sound of M2D2 starting up cold start is the most. My car downstairs in the garage is perfection. That's it right there. It's just had a shitty day or a shitty week, and I could get in and drive the car on the weekend, and I go start that car up cold start, and the entire light and everything in the garage is rumbling and stuff's falling down.
What kind of
That's it.
car is this?
I have a 2017 BMW M2. It's
Nice.
M2D2. That's his name.
Nice. 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 Okay, what sound or noise do you hate?
Fire alarms or smoke detectors. The beep when the battery
Oh,
runs out.
Yeah,
When the
yeah,
9-volt battery is bad, that is like of
yeah,
all things, I actually pulled the breaker in our house to get to just completely remove one from the house the other day because it would just not stop beeping even after we put a battery in it. So I just shut the
yeah.
power off to the house and I pulled the wiring out the back of the dang thing and threw it on the floor.
Yeah, I have, I won't tell you where my smoke detectors are. They are functioning, but, uh, yeah, and it always happens at, like, 2 o'clock in the morning too,
Guaranteed.
right?
Yep.
Like,
And
yeah, it can't
I have
happen.
39 volts in a drawer, 30 at least, because where every time I put one in, I go buy another pack. Why? For this reason, because I
Yeah.
had one night. Has anybody else had what convenience store would be open that I can buy a Rayvac 9-volt battery for $20 at
Right, right?
3 a.m.?
Yeah, yeah. That's the desperation. That is the
Yeah,
desperation.
yeah.
Okay, there was a question that came by here that, oh yeah, so the classic, and I can't believe Beers and Beats isn't here to ask it, but Grind and Fool is doing it for him. What's your favorite dinosaur?
Favorite dinosaur? Velociraptor.
Yeah, Velociraptor. Nice, nice. Evil little bastards.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um,
They'll
okay,
open the door
let's
for
see.
you.
Yeah, they'll open the door for you so so you will come in and be lunch. That's the thing. Um, okay. Did anybody else have a question? Oh, Double G asked, "Aren't you hot in your hoodie?" He said his is super warm.
Yeah, it is. It was fine when I got up here. We keep our house if we're not. It's kind of temperature zone, so the upstairs is pretty cold right now because we're not up here. And so I left it on, thinking, "Oh, I'll be fine." We got about halfway into this, and I was sweating. Yeah, these are some of the best hoodies. I mean, they are so thick fleece wise. It's
Nice,
tough.
nice, nice. All right. Okay. So I think that's it because I want us to get into, I want to raid Man Like Deep and I want
Awesome,
us to get there before he starts so you guys can enjoy the whole thing.
awesome.
Um, Erock, thank you so much for being here. I knew this would be a good time. I didn't know how good a time it was going to be. I have
Thank you very
really
much.
loved talking to you, and the gift of your time is precious to me and appreciated very much.
Very much
Um,
appreciate everybody in the channel as well. Thank you so much for having me.
yes,
I have to say
yes,
this is it's weird because it's tough for me to do these kind of things because I'm not. And again, back to the I don't. This is kind of Twitch has been the first time where I've really been me.
right,
Everything.
right.
So I've never really been interviewed like this. I've done
Uh-huh.
radio station interviews where you get off. They're like, "Hey, that was DJ E-Rock. How are you feeling tonight, man?" And you're like, "I'm doing great, ready to party." And that's the interview. So thank you very very much
Yeah,
for
yeah,
giving me the space and the time. I really appreciate it.
yeah,
This has been awesome. I didn't even
yeah.
realize we've been here 2 hours. That's how awesome it's been.
I
So
know, right? This has been a blast. And
mhm,
yes, thank you, chat. Your mom's, I saw that you subscribed. Thank you so
awesome.
much for
Shout out to your
that.
mom. Yeah,
You guys are all just amazing. And Reflex, thank you for the gifted sub to 916 Junglist. Hopefully Twitch is going to get you guys some emotes soon and then you can be disappointed by how lame they are. But my dog as the sub badge is fucking dope.
it is.
So
3 to 4 days. 3 to 4 days is what you're probably looking at the first round. After that, it becomes to where you can instantly change them and you don't have to wait. I
right.
got after my first round of them, I was like, I almost immediately was like, oh, you can just change them however you want. I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but that
Yeah.
first round sucks. I think my first, yeah, I was like sitting there foaming at the mouth for probably 3 days waiting for them to prove them. So
And your mom's giving a sub to Reflex, the
awesome.
giving, the love. Psh,
That's awesome. It's
it
good
never
stuff.
ends here.
No, it doesn't.
Okay,
No, it doesn't. Super
so
nice.
we're gonna back out. I'm gonna put
Okay.
my outro on. Hang out. I'm still gonna talk on the
Okay.
mic for a little bit, but while I find Deep to rate him. So, Iraq, thank you again.
I'll hang
I know
tight.
we will talk soon.
Thank
So yeah,
you, everybody. I'll see you guys on the stream, okay? Or somebody
yes,
else's stream in Twitch lands.
yes,
See you,
yes.
Twitch universe.
Big love,
Bye, guys.
everybody.
Big
Whoop, ah. There we go. Okay, so yeah, let's get the video going while I oh yeah, next week my guest is Beers and Beats and I'm super